The legend of the Lost Dutchman gold mine has been a growing mystery for over 128 years. Hundreds from all over the world have searched for this mine, many dying in pursuit. It all began with a German prospector known as the Dutchman, who claimed to have located a rich vein of gold within the Superstition Mountains of Arizona. The Dutchman is not a myth. He was a real person named Jacob Waltz, who left beneath his deathbed high-grade gold ore that to this date has not been linked to any known mine. Records at the assayer's office reveal Waltz turned in enough gold to be a multi-millionaire by today's standards. He left behind mysterious clues and maps as to the location of the mine, but no one has been able to prove its existence or location. Until now. Arcana Exploration and Discovery is a group of 5 close friends from Central Ohio. They are ordinary guys with ordinary lives who, in the spirit of camaraderie and adventure, went searching for the lost mine. What sets them apart from all other Dutchmen is that they have proof, undeniable physical proof, that Jacob Waltz's mine exists, and that many of the most accepted clues can be substantiated by physical evidence on the ground. Here, amongst this vast maze of volcanic interior, fixed and clinging to the mountainside, flanked on one side by a very small, almost invisible ledge, is the Lost Dutchman gold mine. Like a small bird's nest perched in the middle of a forest of giant oaks, concealed by the natural elements, it obscures itself from all beasts of prey, especially man. This quote, hidden in the pages of the Arcana Exploration website, resembles the riddles left by Jacob Waltz. The team, much like Waltz, is keeping the location under wraps for now. Not so they can work the mine, but so they can properly catalog markers and monumental clues for a tell-all book to be released later this year. Some of the shocking discoveries, if they are what they seem to be, could change American history. Arcana's founder and ringleader, Jeff Howlett, sat down with Intrigue Journal for a series of conversations. Many have spent their lives searching for this mine, but Arcana has made only 7 expeditions since 2015. I wanted to understand how they found it so quickly and exactly when they found it.
So when was the first time you realized that you might have found it? Which expedition was that?
Very first one, because you'll see in the book why I felt this was the site. And it was like, oh my God, that's why nobody's been able to find it. That's the quirky thing. I can see it, whatever. And then every time we went, we found other things.
It's incredible that you got there the first time in the right place. It's incredible.
Actually, it is. And that's why I say when the book comes out and these guys will look at it and they'll go. I'm highly dyslexic, so much to the point that some days I'll write my name and it's backwards, and it looks right to me. I really had a hard time in school. Nobody knew then. They just thought you were stupid or you were lazy or you weren't keeping up. Mm-hmm. But sometimes those things are a gift. I've been able to figure out things, see through things that other people can't, and I know because I learned how to use that to my advantage. And that's exactly what I did here. And part of my theory was to come at a different direction backwards.
What can you tell us, Julianne? We're back.
Isn't it
We're
fascinating?
back.
It's fascinating.
The advantage of disability, right? So
yes.
Jeff, he's able to process quirky things. So what's interesting is he had read hundreds of books on the legend, and one author in particular had said, I believe that the Dutchman mine exists, but there's some quirky reason that people can't find it. And he thought somebody's going to find it and put all the pieces together, the puzzle. And Jeff said when he was standing there in that moment, he got goosebumps looking around, thinking about that quote and thinking, oh my gosh, I think this is it, and it's quirky. And we had talked about the fact that there was a 7.4 earthquake, and it changed the landscape. He did share that of that site. And I said, is that the quirky reason that nobody could see it? And he said, nope. something else, wouldn't tell me. Gotta wait for the book.
Yeah.
But even the Dutchman himself said it's hard to find. You could be 20 feet away and you wouldn't see it.
Wow.
And it's like, it's about a vent hole about 18 inches wide. The Dutchman supposedly chiseled it away, made it 20 inches so he could get inside and get down. It sits above a dangerous ledge. It's covered by some kind of brush. And the Dutchman filled it in the last time he was there, making it even harder to find, right?
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
So the clues are hard to follow. Jeff said that a lot of the clues they reverse engineered once they were on site. You can go to their website and hear all about those clues. Here it is.
Okay, yeah, let's look at this.
He lists like 24 of the most well-known clues. They're all there. He gives a lot away. I encourage people to go Google finally found Lost Dutchman Mine. But I did ask him, can you share just one clue of how you got to the site? And do you know what he said?
What?
He said he can't.
Oh,
Can't tell me.
wow!
They verified a lot of maps, 6 of the 18 or so maps. This one, he said, is very significant. I said, why? He said he can't tell you.
Oh.
You understand his need for secrecy.
Us. Oh my goodness!
The next map, both of them get you to the same location. So he did say, I'm trying to focus here. Like this one is a very mysterious map.
That's a map?
You could, yeah, you could really, you could do a whole series on that. But the maps are one thing. The secrecy is another thing. You can understand that he can't let people know. He has to tie up the loose ends before he gives away too much.
Right.
But he did tell me, he wouldn't tell me exactly what got him there, but he did tell me some strategy.
Okay.
He said that he didn't focus on the Dutchmen because they didn't get there. He went farther back. He focused on other groups who had been in the area a lot, who might be mining, specifically the Jesuit priests of the 1600s.
Wow.
Somebody
Okay.
named Kino. This man, Jesuit priest, he is known as the father of the Southwest. He helped map a lot of the Southwest, Jeff told me. He did amazing things like he tracked or charted comets. He discovered minerals. So Jeff gets a hold of journals and diaries and expedition logs, and he finds out, long story short, that Kino was in those mountains looking for a yellow river.
Ooh.
Or a vein of gold.
Yes.
He was also headed towards Arcana, which is the name of Jeff's company,
Oh, cool.
and which means secret or hidden place. It's like a Dan Brown Da Vinci Code.
Can I ask you a
so much fun.
question?
Yes.
You won't answer it.
Maybe not.
He probably didn't. Is there any gold?
Well, you gotta just wait and see. Oh, there's
Okay.
a wall of gold. Okay, we're gonna get to the mine in a
okay.
second here.
I
So
don't know.
the biggest shock, though, was that the clues were there, that they're true and accurate. He thought after all this time with the legend, the twists and turns,
Yeah.
that there'd be misinformation, but they're true. Second biggest shock was, this is a really huge one, they found evidence of other groups or entities on this site, groups that span centuries apart from one another, and a very significant archaeological feature that links them all together, that they all talked about at one point. It's right here. You have to come back next week to see it.
Look at the question mark!
I'm going to leave you with one more
Isn't
thing.
nature amazing? With that blue question mark. I just
think
love
so.
it. Wow.
It's a mystery. One more thing, though, I want to leave you with. They got to the vent hole once, okay, where you get into the gold.
Okay.
You can't chip away because it's illegal, but there's a little hole at the top. They're going to bring a GoPro down there to see it. But this one man who got up there, there's a thing called the Dutchman's curse, okay? First of all, I should point out, they knew that the mine was where it was, but they couldn't reach it because it was so dangerous. Jeff said that this last expedition that they went there, that they found a way to get around the dangerous parts without dying.
Oh my gosh.
So this one man is there. He's in front of it. He sees that it's filled in. He sees that there's chisel marks. Later on at the airport, this expert climber inexplicably collapses on the floor for no reason, hits his head, blood. He has to go to the hospital, and I don't know, Dutchman's curse.
Dutchman's
Oh.
curse.
You know,
Interesting.
this area is very strange. He calls it the bird's nest. We're going to talk more about, I'm going to share all that with you. But they need to find a loose piece of gold in order to test it against
see.
the Dutchman's.
So you said that if they did find that hole, they're not allowed to open it up and go down in it.
Nope.
Why is that illegal?
They just, They
just protect
They want
them.
to protect the area, I guess. Yeah.
Let's go at nighttime with headlamps and just dig it, Kelly.
I can dig it.
Waltz on in
Dig
there.
it. Waltz on
Just
in
like
there.
a cactus.
When is this book coming out?
It's going to be this fall, like September,
fall. This
October.
is-
I hope he
Oh,
reveals more than what he revealed to you in the book.
You know what? He did reveal a lot to me, but I just don't have time to share it all. But the book, he's got it's breadcrumbs. He's really good at that. You'll see in the website too.
Okay.
It's going to be a captivating
I just
book.
know humans and human greed, and I
Yeah.
can't imagine being that close to something and not
Right.
going for it.
I
You know,
know.
I just know the humans. I know humans.
You'd be thinking, nobody's around.
No. Give me my shovel.
This group is they're just very decent men. They follow the rules.
That is good. That is good.
Thank you.
Julianne.
Always intriguing.
It is. We can't wait to hear more.
I can't wait to tell you more.
I hope you can tell us more next time. All right. We'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, you weren't going to tell us anything off camera. Like, that's really a secret. Like, she wouldn't even tell us.
Yes.
Like, we're